finish. What a flurry to end the first. 15 straight points. Zion spins, shot blocked, swatted out of bounds by Anunoby.
Happening again. Though things may be different for the New York Knicks this time around, we are seeing a repeat of one of the most storied moments in recent Knicks history, but now things have completely flipped. And this is honestly the perfect situation for the Knicks to be in come the playoffs, because the Knicks, they are on a good pathway to at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. It won't be easy, but the start of the playoffs has just been set up perfectly for the New York Knicks, and we're going to dive into why that is. Because right now, guys, we are seeing a repeat of something that happened a couple of years ago, and though the team is different, the vibes are still the same, and the vibes are immaculate. If you're subscribed to Knicks Digest, if you're part of that 58%, come join the club. We're having a bunch of fun on this channel every single day that you don't want to miss out on. But let's jump into it because there is a lot to go over on the team. Because it's happening again. Though many things have changed, we are once again seeing something that really, really was one of the biggest storylines and some of the most the Knicks had been in the news in nearly a decade. As when we look at the NBA standings right now, we see that the New York Knicks have put themselves in prime position to end up facing the Atlanta Hawks. Now, they just won a game, meaning they're now the 5th seed, but they are very close with the Toronto Raptors and Philadelphia 76ers. And though they're the 5th seed right now, they have spent a ton of time in that 6th seed this season. And right now, it's very, very likely that we see a rematch of the 2021 first round 5 years later. Now, the New York Knicks, they're going back to the playoffs for the 4th straight year and the 5th time in 6 years. Really uncharted waters for Knicks fans, if we're being honest. The Knicks are usually not this good for this long. But right now, they are. They are one of the best teams in the NBA. They have one of the best chances to win the NBA Finals. And it is very, very likely that that starts with them going through Atlanta. Now, the Atlanta Hawks, like the New York Knicks, are much different. Trae Young's gone. Nate McMillan's gone. Clint Capella's gone. John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter. That whole starting 5 and head coach is gone. But, well, same goes for the Knicks. Excuse me. When the New York Knicks faced off with the Atlanta Hawks, they had a starting lineup of, for a bit, Elfrid Payton before it went to Derrick Rose, Reggie Bullock, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. A core of Randle, Barrett, and Derrick Rose has been replaced with a core of Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride. And guys, there is only one player left on the New York Knicks who was in this, and that was Mitchell Robinson, who didn't even play in the series because of an injury. But now we are seeing the Knicks in a very likely scenario facing off against the Atlanta Hawks. And Bleacher Report Sports Illustrated recently talked about this, saying the entire East seems to have been riding their own separate heaters throughout March, but no group has been able to match the Atlanta Hawks' pure desire to separate themselves from the rest of the pack over recent weeks. They've won 13 of their last 14, now 14 of their last 15, thanks to one of the league's deeper rotations and one of the game's best defensive and second best overall net rating in that span. Now, the Knicks over the last 2 months have been the best defensive team, just to mention it. Now, they stand as fairly convincing 6th seed with enough momentum to lap the Toronto Raptors for the next highest spot in the Eastern Conference's totem pole. And with the efficiency that new star Nickeil Alexander-Walker has learned to pair with volume shooting, Atlanta's well-rounded attack has a clear shot at making any playoff matchup take longer than the favorite may anticipate. Now, it was also mentioned by Sports Illustrated that the Knicks have a pretty dominant defense of their own, though, as they've been destructive enough on that end to notch a top 5 rating over the course of the entire season. They have a history with the Hawks, memorably succumbing to Trae Young during their last postseason clash in 2021. But he's moved on to the Washington Wizards, and platoon attacks like the Hawks scheme have normally folded beneath the weight of a star closer like Jalen Brunson. The Hawks shoot the 3 well, though, up to 37% as a team on real volume, giving them a chance to hurt the Knicks away from the basket. But given their lackluster rebounding, expect another big Mitchell Robinson series to aid league-leading board snatcher Karl Anthony Towns in the event of this matchup. It is very likely these two face off as a 3-6 matchup. If they do, I think it's the best possible matchup for the Knicks outside of the Raptors. I think the Knicks would absolutely bludgeon the Raptors in 4 games. I think maybe one of the games will be close, and outside of that, the Knicks will just absolutely beat the brakes off them. They won all 4 games against the Raptors. They weren't close, and I get that happened with the Knicks and the Celtics, but the Raptors do not have a true superstar. They do not have a guy who can get a bucket at will when needed outside of Brandon Ingram, who's good, but he's no Jalen Brunson. And when you got a wing pairing of OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges coming at you, then all of a sudden, Brandon Ingram is going to have a long couple nights at the office. So that would be my first pick. But after that, I would pick the Atlanta Hawks. I get the Hawks have been good. I'm not trying to discount Atlanta. They're deep. They've got a lot of talent, but they don't have a true number one guy. Again, they're the same thing. It's a forward, and Jalen Johnson is great. I am not trying to discount Jalen Johnson. He's an all-star for a reason. And the Hawks, they've been on fire. Their only loss is to the Houston Rockets. But let's also take a look at the teams they've beat, because this also matters. Now, they beat the Detroit Pistons, which, I mean, the Knicks haven't, so they deserve a ton of credit for that. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies, who are awful. They beat the Golden State Warriors, who don't have Steph Curry, and therefore are awful. They beat the Houston Rockets, or they lost to the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are a very good basketball team as well. The Mavericks are not good. The Magic are, you know, they're all right. They'll be in the play-in. The Bucks, no. The Nets are the worst team in the NBA pretty much. The Mavericks are awful still, and the 76ers are pretty below average to mid. So overall, this is a team that it will not be an easy series, but I think the Knicks should win in 4 to 5 games. They don't have the star power. Brunson has figured out Dyson Daniels for the most part, and they really don't have rebounding. The only player that's really still part of the Hawks that won against the Knicks is Onyeka Okongwu, and Okongwu is not the world's greatest rebounder. Mitchell Robinson will eat them alive, and so will Karl-Anthony Towns. The Knicks can run a double big with Mikal or OG on the floor, and all of a sudden Jalen Johnson will be in jail. So you start to think about that, and you start to understand the Knicks have put themselves in excellent position to just run through the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks, look, don't get me wrong, solid team overall. In the 73 games they've played, they've been good. They're decent both at home and on the road, and they're currently a 5th seed. They're a good team. I'm not trying to pretend like the Hawks are not good overall, but when we look at this team, I don't think that it's going to be some very tough matchup between them and the Knicks. I think the Knicks will be able to get them. Just looking at a breakdown of the Knicks, it really is a team that the Knicks just can run through. They don't have the star power to handle Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Those two will be the best 2 players on the floor, no doubt about it. Now, the Knicks, they have been the NBA's best defense over the last 2 months, and at the same time, they are a phenomenal offensive team as well, led by Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, having the 2 best players on the floor, I don't really see a pathway to the Hawks being able to beat them. The Knicks have been on a heater of their own. They've won their last 7 games right now, and obviously this video is coming out after they play the Charlotte Hornets, which they will win against and clinch a playoff spot. And even if they don't, they're going to the playoffs anyway, so it's not a big deal. But also not discounting the Hornets. They're great. They're fun to watch as hell. But overall, the Knicks, they're just a team that they should be able to beat the Hawks. Now, when you look at the splits, it's a little bit closer, but you don't have the intangibles that is Jalen Brunson on the floor here. Now, the Hawks average 0.8 more points. The Knicks average more rebounds. They will win the rebound battle violently when they play against a team like the Hawks. The Hawks move the ball a bit better, but again, the Hawks are a more well-rounded scoring team overall. They have a bunch of guys. They're not just a one-man show. They have CJ McCollum, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson.
History appears to be repeating itself for the New York Knicks, but this time, the circumstances couldn't be more favorable. The Knicks are well-positioned to advance deep into the playoffs with a realistic path to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the foundation for that run looks remarkably familiar. A few years back, one of the biggest Knicks storylines in nearly a decade unfolded in the first round of the playoffs. Now, 5 years later, we may be watching a remake. Current NBA standings suggest the Knicks are heading toward a rematch with the Atlanta Hawks, the same franchise they faced in the 2021 postseason. The Knicks are returning to the playoffs for the 4th consecutive year and 5th time in 6 seasons, which is genuinely unprecedented territory for a franchise not known for sustained success. Both rosters have been completely overhauled since that 2021 series. The Hawks no longer have Trae Young, Nate McMillan, Clint Capella, or that entire core. Meanwhile, the Knicks have replaced the Randall, Barrett, Rose era with Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Deuce McBride. Mitchell Robinson is the only remaining Knick from that series, and he didn't even play in it due to injury. Sports Illustrated recently highlighted Atlanta's remarkable recent stretch, noting the Hawks have won 14 of their last 15 games, fueled by a deep rotation and strong defensive efficiency. They've managed to pull away from the Eastern Conference's middle tier, with Nickel Alexander Walker emerging as an efficient scoring weapon alongside Jalen Johnson. The publication also acknowledged New York's elite defense, which has ranked top 5 all season, and noted that while the Knicks previously fell victim to Trae Young in 2021, he's long gone, and stars like Brunson have historically neutralized that style of team attack. Atlanta does shoot the three-ball well, connecting at roughly 37% on high volume, which gives them some ability to hurt New York from the perimeter. However, their rebounding is a notable weakness, one the Knicks can exploit heavily. Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns together form one of the most dominant rebounding duos in the league, and in a potential matchup, that advantage could be decisive. If the Knicks face Toronto instead, it's almost a foregone conclusion. New York went 4-0 against the Raptors this season, and it wasn't close.